Good morning, everyone. Happy Thursday. Hopefully, you're all having a great day. You're all having a great week. Make sure you all hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, share this channel out with anyone you know. Any support for the channel, it is greatly appreciated, and I do thank you for it. And make sure you all are hitting the emojis down there at the bottom. It does help with the YouTube algorithms and getting the live stream out to more people. Let's get this channel to 800 subscribers. That's the new goal now. And I have my co-host here. This is Ken. You all know Ken. You all know who he is. You all love him in the chat. You all like to give him a hard time about Austin Wells. How you doing, Ken?
Doing great. How about yourself?
I can't complain. I'm doing good. But we got a few people in the chat. Let's say what's up to the chat. How we doing? So Ken's on double duty. Good morning to you, Ken. Saying good morning to everybody in the chat. Stephen B, what's going on? Jonathan, what's up? We also got Joe in the building. What's up? Nosebleed section. What is going on? Good morning. So we got a lot to talk about, right? We got a few more games before the All-Star break. The Yankees got a game today against the Rays later on, so hopefully they can finally win a series. I mean, it would be nice, but they got the job done yesterday. It wasn't a pretty game. It was the bats were not great, right? But the pitching got the job done, and Mr. Trent Grisham with an amazing defensive play out there in center field, and the player who got the 2 RBIs. So your bench piece doing work. This is a player that folks like to criticize, but when he plays, he gets the job done. Yeah, he had that one misplay last week against Cincinnati. That was unacceptable. But outside of that, he's been great. Ken, let me get your thoughts.
I'll tell you what. Without Grisham's great catch in the 8th, I think the Yankees tanked the game. That's at least 2 runs scoring. I didn't realize that Grisham was as fast as he was, but he covered a lot of ground and took a great route to intercept the ball.
Yeah,
his hitting speaks for itself. I mean, he sits there and looks at some call strike threes, but he can get wood on the ball. So,
yeah. What more did you expect? I mean, again, the pitching got the job done, but the bats, there still needs to be a lot of improvement with the bats. The bats are still dead. They changed the lineup up yesterday. They put Verdugo in the leadoff spot and put Ben Rice in the number 4 spot. The lineup made sense to me just because putting Ben Rice right behind Judge, they needed some other threat besides Soto and Judge. And having Volpe at the leadoff spot obviously wasn't working, so he's been batting 5th or 6th. So they needed a solution there. But so I did agree with Ben Rice batting cleanup. I know that's not the long-term solution because Giancarlo Stanton is going to be back. And it sounds like he's going to be back after the All-Star break without a rehab assignment. So hopefully they're not rushing him back, and he'll probably reclaim that number 4 spot. But what are your thoughts on that, Ken?
Well, pushing Stanton when he comes back, anticipate that he's going to start slow like he always does. Then he'll catch fire and everyone will love him. He'll get hate up front, but in the end, he's projecting to still hit a bunch of home runs for us and drive in a lot of RBIs. He's missed the lineup has certainly been shortened without him in there. I think the Rice move to the 4-hole gave the Rays incentive to actually pitch to Judge. It was good to see that Soto got 2 hits last night. It's been a while. Judge got a hit. Rice didn't do beans, but the threat of Rice being there, I think, had that result.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think he went last night. He went what, 0 for 4, if I'm not mistaken. 0 for 4, yeah. So, yeah, he didn't have himself a game, but it's going to happen. It's bound to happen. When he didn't run out of the batter's box right away, I thought, okay, he's going to be safe, but I think he ran out too late. He didn't know where the ball was. but I guess you can own that to a rookie mistake. So, it's going to happen to rookies. So I cut him a little slack there. I was like, all right, it's all right. Like, you made a mistake. You're going to continue making mistakes, and that's okay. That's okay.
He's a young player. He's got 20 games under his belt. He's bound to make mistakes. It happens.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that's concerning is I don't want fans to come down on this kid. He
Right.
has come up and done extremely well in the short time that he's been here. Sort of like Dominguez last year. When Dominguez came up, his first 8 games until he got hurt, fans were supporting him. So he never got into that slump.
Yeah, and hopefully, Ben Rice so far he's looked great. I'm happy with his approach to the plate. I like the way he swings the bat. I mean, his glove at first base, he's good. I feel like he's good defensively. He's not bad. I think he should continue playing even after Anthony Rizzo comes back from injury. So I think you need to continue playing him.
Let's be honest.
Okay.
Rizzo is an older guy. He broke his arm. I don't think he's coming back before the season is done with. They said 8 weeks. Sure, it takes 8 weeks to get for your bones to mend. Mentally, he's not there. He hasn't been there for a while.
Yeah.
And for him to get his swings back, his swings were horrible before he got injured. He's going to need time down in the system if he was to make an appearance.
Yeah, I think his best days, unfortunately, are behind him. So, I mean, after this season, I mean, the Yankees aren't going to exercise his option. He could retire after the season. I don't know what team would pick him up, but if he does end up retiring, I wouldn't blame him. I mean, I think he had a great career. So
he's a World Series champion.
Yeah.
He's played for 2 stoic franchises. He's been a major contributor on both of them. He has nothing to hang his head about. He has been a fantastic major leaguer. And he has been involved with the community and cancer research, ever since he became a major leaguer. So he is a contributor on and off the field.
Absolutely. 100%. 100%. I don't disagree with you about Anthony Rizzo whatsoever. And there's a few other people that came into the chat. Let's say what's up to them. So I see Lou in the chat. What's going on? Li Yankee King, everybody's favorite, is in the chat. What's up, Li? How you doing? And that's a good question, Li. I don't know what bats are there to get. I don't think they're going to look at a lot of bats. If they add a bat, it's probably going to be one, if anything. But we'll talk about that later in the show. Izzy, what's up, Izzy? How you doing? Good morning to you. Jake Boss, I see you in there. What's going on? So shout out to everybody in the chat. Again, make sure you all are hitting that like button, hit that subscribe, share this channel out. I got Ken on here with me this morning to talk baseball, talk Yankees. So hopefully you're all enjoying the conversation so far. But, I wanted to pull this picture up real quick of the pitching last night. So let me zoom in a little bit more so everybody could see it. Hopefully, can you all see that? Ken, you could see it?
Yeah.
All right, cool. I mean, this was the pitching last night. It was all pitching. It was all pitching last night. They got the job done, right? Stroman he pitched a little over 4 innings. He had two walks, 2 strikeouts. I think. Yeah, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts.
Yeah.
And then who else came in? Was that? Oh yeah, Tim Hill came in. He pitched an inning, got a couple of strikeouts. You had Luke Weaver, who walked 2, struck out 1. Still managed to pitch well. I mean, and then you got Tommy Kahnle and then Clay Holmes closed out the game. Some of these guys like Tim Hill, this was a DFA signing. He was not on a team. The Yankees picked him up. And, this was one of those, dumpster dive moves that fans talk about with Brian Cashman, but some of these dumpster dive moves, they end up working out. I mean, Tim Hill did pretty well yesterday. Michael Tonkin, when he pitches, he does fairly well. And Clay Holmes finally, like I said, closed out a game. Finally,
actual 4-out save.
A 4-out save. Yeah, he didn't blow the game like he did last week. So, last night was it was absolutely on it was all pitching. Now I think there still needs to be. I'm going to take this off the screen, but I still think there still needs to be a lot of work done with the bullpen. So at the deadline, they definitely need to. In an ideal world, I'd love for them to get 2 left-handed pitchers for the bullpen. If not 2, definitely 1.
I'll tell you what. That chart also shows something systemic that's been going on over the last month. Is we are not getting any length out of the starters.
Right.
I would not be surprised to see if the Yankees tried to obtain a starting arm.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me either. And real quick, what's up, Erica? How are you? Good morning. Hopefully you're having a good day. Hopefully you had a good night last night. Hopefully your team won. She's on a softball league, so. But yeah, and to Erica's point, I wanted to talk about this because this was another thing I wanted to talk about, and she brought it up. She's saying it's remarkable that the Yankees have been this bad and are still within 2 games. That's the truth. I mean, for as bad as the Yankees have been over this last month, I mean, the fact that they're 2 games behind, I feel like with the way they've been playing, they should be like 5 or 6 games behind first place. But the Orioles, they exactly haven't been winning a lot of games either. There have been some games that they've been losing, so the Yankees are able to keep up with them to some extent.
That is definitely true. You have a question from Anthony Manzona. The Yankees have been struggling to find a
solidified
closer the past few years. Mariano was so reliable when he retired. It's hard to find a replacement.
Yeah, but Anthony, let me tell you something. We've discussed this many times, not on just on this channel, but there's been other channels I'm sure that have talked about it. There's never going to be another Mariano Rivera. End of story. There's never going to be another Mariano Rivera. Mariano Rivera was Mariano Rivera. All right. And yeah, there's never going to be a closer that's going to be of his caliber. All right. No closer ever came close to being who he was. But the thing is, listen, as he was getting older in his career, unfortunately, he started blowing saves. He did. He was on fire, definitely in his for most of his career. But unfortunately, when he went up against the Red Sox, David Ortiz will light him up. So eventually it does catch up. Even with the great ones, they start to falter a little bit. I'm not taking anything away from Mariano. He was an amazing closer, still the best closer in the game, in my opinion, to ever play. But eventually, there comes a time. I hate to say that, but it's just part of life, and it's just facts. With
the thing that was more amazing than anything about Rivera's career is he threw a cutter, one pitch. Everyone knew what was coming. They just couldn't hit the damn thing. Well, towards the end of his career, they figured it out.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, have the Yankees had like a great closer since he retired? No. They've had closers. They've gotten the job done. And it's never going to. What was that?
David Robertson was a good closer. He took over right after Mo. He had been under his wings for quite a number of years.
Yeah.
We had Dylan Betances, who took the closer's role, and he was a worse cardiac kid than Clay Holmes is. You had Chapman. Chapman had incredible stuff, but he couldn't get the damn ball over the plate and walked just as many people as he struck out. He was a horrible closer. We've got Holmes now. He is not the atypical power pitcher that we've had as a closer, but we don't have that on our staff right now as it stands. So he's the best that we have.
Yeah, and the thing with Clay Holmes is this: I still think I'm not going to call him an elite closer. I still say he's a good closer. And some of those saves that he blew, that wasn't all on him. That was on the infield. On whether it was a bad play, not grounding the ball or catching the ground ball, or on a bad throw. Last week against the Red Sox, he blew that one. But I still think Clay Holmes, he's a good closer, but they have to, in my opinion, I think Yankees fans need to stop with the Mariano talk because, there's never going to be another Mariano. He was just a one of a kind pitcher. So, we gotta, in my opinion, we got to stop comparing the two because it's not even close.
Well, I'll tell you what. There are no closers that don't have chinks in their armor. The big gun hater out of Houston.
Yeah,
he has coughed up a lot of save opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
This past Friday when Holmes blew the game, that same night, the Padres closer had a 6-run lead, which he proceeded to give up a freaking grand slam and then a 2-run homer in the same inning. The Diamondbacks closer went to close out the game, and he gave up a 2-run homer himself. So it happens. It happens a lot more than you tend to think. But because of the intensity of Yankee fans, we seem to magnify everything that happens to this team.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. And you gotta let players develop into their own, and you got to let players be the best version of themselves. We talk about Clay Holmes. We could say the same thing about Anthony Volpe, right? They compare, before this guy even took the field, they started comparing him to Derek Jeter, and I'm like, all right, let's pump the brakes a little bit, okay? Like, let him play, let him learn. I don't think Volpe is going to be he's not the next Derek Jeter. I think Anthony Volpe is the next Anthony Volpe. That's who I think Anthony Volpe is going to be. So, I understand the player comparisons. I know it's done to get fans excited, but that's the problem. The fans get excited. They have these high expectations. And then when these guys are not knocking it out of the park on day one, then it's like, okay, they're a bust basically. So, I think you got to let players develop into the best version of themselves. What are your thoughts?
Agreed completely. Right now we've got Dominguez, the next Mickey Mantle. Well, he needs to be the Jason Dominguez. Fans have put a lot of faith into this. He's a prospect. He's not a major leaguer yet. He has 8 games of major league experience under him. He is a talented ball player, and he definitely shows that he's got some pop. We didn't really see what type of defensive player he is. 8 games just isn't enough. But the fans are putting the hopes and dreams of the future on this kid who's in his 20s.
Yeah, he's still young. I mean, he's still very young, so he's got a lot of time to still develop. And I mean, he's just got to get over. I mean, I know he got over Tommy John. Now he needs to get over this oblique injury that he suffered from. So hopefully he comes back healthier. And Li, he's a good defender with a cannon of an arm, no doubt. But I want to see more of him. We need to see more of him. We need a bigger sample size of Jason Dominguez. But we'll see what happens with him, though. We don't even know if he's going to be a September call-up, if he's going to be even, healthy to come back. I mean, we don't know yet. So we'll see what happens with that. But as far as, the bats, I want to talk about the bats because that's been an issue for over the last month. Yeah, and I know they got injuries, right? The John Carlos Stanton injury. They have, John Birdie's hurt. Third base is a little bit of a weak spot, and there's guys in the lineup that aren't hitting well, right? You could say, Volpe's been in a big slump. Verdugo still slumping. I'll even say Juan Soto. He's been honestly slumping too. So he's getting a lot of walks, but he's not getting hits. Now, last night he got a couple. You could say Trevino as well. He hasn't been hitting, unfortunately. I want him to. Glaber's he just came back, right? But still not doing a lot. I mean, DJ's been getting some hits. He's actually over the last 7 games, he's been better, right? But what do you think is going on with the offense, though, Ken? Because in the beginning of the season, it seemed like when they started playing, they were playing fundamental baseball. They were getting the hits. They were putting guys on base. They were playing everything was situational at the time. But now it seems like they've kind of reverted back to the old ways. And what do you think is the problem? And folks in the chat, let me know what you think is the problem with the bats.
Well, personally,
yeah,
I don't think that Judge or Stanton are in a slump. I don't think they're seeing pitches anymore. With slots 4 through 9, essentially you're getting little to no offense. So there's no incentive. I mean, part of my metrics on that is because of the amount of walks that Soto is getting. Judge, I think, is pressing a little bit too hard to try to be that guy to score runs. Early in the season, we didn't have DJ LeMahieu. DJ is a fine defensive player. He is past his prime for being an everyday player. He should truly be the utility guy that floats. I don't understand what the organization is thinking. Cabrera was on a hot run, getting consistent at bats. Now it doesn't seem that he can even buy a second into a game. He hasn't changed as a player, and I think he should get more playing time. Torres has been up and down. When he's on a good streak, it's fantastic. However, when he is on a bad streak, his defense suffers just as much as his offense. But he hadn't crapped out to that point. Rizzo is now hurt, and early in the season, Rizzo was providing decent numbers. I mean, he was the player of the week 2 separate times between April and May, and a lot of good at bats. People don't seem to remember that he had good at bats, because when he started slumping, it came off the rails quick and it hadn't recovered.
Yep. I got you. Sorry, I'm just saluting everybody that's coming into the chat. So I'm still listening. So.
Of course.
Yeah. Got to say what's up to the peeps. So shout out to all of you, though. Shout out to all of you in the chat. So I want to pull up a couple of comments as far as the bats go. So
well, one thing before you do that.
Yeah.
On 161 River Ave, they had a thread yesterday afternoon, which really surprised me. Did you realize that the Yankees have scored more runs than any other team in Major League Baseball, as crappy as we've been playing for over a month?
Yeah. No, I did. I kind of caught some of what he was saying too. So, yeah, no, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And real quick, make sure you all listen to Brian Gustin here. Like, share, subscribe, and be sure to have the notification turned on. Smash those emojis. Greatly appreciate it. Thank you. So I want to pull up a couple of comments. So I want to pull up the comment here from Erica, who always brings her opinions and knows plenty about the Yankees, knows a lot about baseball. So shout out to Erica. She's saying hitting is contagious. We have too much negative, but also feels like our hitting coaches have never been to make the right adjustments year after year. It ruins us in the playoffs. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, we've switched hitting coaches from last year to this year. So honestly, I don't know what he's got, what he's done as far as adjustments. I know when the season started out, the team was banging on all cylinders with the exception of Aaron Judge.
Yeah, no doubt. And there was another comment. This is from Stephen B. He's saying what I noticed besides Judge, Soto, Wells, and Rice is they aren't working the count and swing pitch, first pitch in the zone. And that's been something I've been noticing is that they don't take the first pitch like they'll swing at the first pitch and it usually ends up in a they usually pop out or ground out. So they've been getting some quick outs. They've been getting out much quicker. Opposing pitchers are getting out of the inning much faster. Where early in the season they were working the pitchers, they were making them throw a lot of pitches, they were getting their pitch count high, but they seem to have gotten away from that. So I think we can attribute that to these guys. Just I think they're trying too hard is what's happening. I think they're trying to do too much at the plate, and that's why they're not be able to get on base, or if they do get on base, they're not scoring the runners in scoring position. So is that I'll just go ahead and ask. I mean, is that a Boone problem or is that a hitting coach problem? Because everybody likes to blame Aaron Boone when obviously the team isn't doing well. They don't give him tips, but
situational hitting is on a player. It's not a coach issue whatsoever. The coach isn't sitting there at the plate taking the swings. I think the reason that those players, Judge and Soto particularly, are taking early swings is because they know they're not going to get much in the zone. Soto has been taking more intentional walks than you can fathom.
Copy. And Anthony brings this up. He says, explain how that's possible to me that your team is in a slump, yet your lineup is scoring the most runs. Those two things don't seem to work well together, which is interesting, right? They score a lot of runs, like you mentioned, but they're also in the slump. So
it's been because the top of the lineup is getting on and Judge has been blasting balls.
Yeah.
The scoring has been coming from the top 3/4 hitters.
Right.
Other teams in the league have now figured out that if they don't pitch those top three guys, ain't nobody else in the lineup going to do anything that's going to hurt them. So, hence, increased number of walks, lack of real solid contact. It's been, 5 games since Judge hit a homer?
Because he hit one. Yeah, I think the last time he hit a home run was last week. I want to say. He hasn't hit a home run recently.
Yep.
I don't think he hasn't hit one. Did he even hit one in the Boston series at all? I don't think so.
Yes.
Oh, he did hit one. Okay. Oh, on Saturday maybe during that crazy game.
14 run freaking massacre. Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. And Old Sarge says here he's picking back off of Erica's point. He's saying it's the Yanks organization philosophy towards hitting. Notice that Judge won't touch the Yanks hitting coach with a 10-foot cattle prod. So, Judge, I think he's trying to say Judge does his own thing. I know Judge has his own hitting coach outside of the Yankees, but I think their hitting coach this year who they got, James Rosen, I think he's fine. He's better than Dylan Lawson, that's for sure. The guy that they fired last year. I wish they would have been able to keep Sean Casey, but he didn't want to come back. So, and I understand. I don't blame him. He wanted to spend more time with his family. But what are your thoughts on James Rosen so far? I mean, how do you feel about him? And folks in the chat, let me know how you feel about James Rosen.
I mean, he's done his job. He can show and make adjustments, what adjustments the players have to do, and it's the hitter that actually has to do it. Rosen can't teach him patience in the box.
Yeah, I mean, and that was the thing, right? Even, and I hate going back to the past, but you go back to years ago with dynasty years with the Yankees, right? They had their hitting coach, they had their pitching coach, they had their manager, but I think the players back then, I can't, and you tell me if I'm wrong here. Again, I think with the players of the past, I mean, they still held themselves accountable. So if they had a bad game or if they're in a bad slump, they would just shake it off and hopefully come back better the next day. I just feel like with this team, I'm not saying that they're trying to go out there to lose. I don't think that's not their intention. Then it's like, why do you play the game? But I feel like you gotta, the players need to hold themselves accountable too, to shake off whatever cobwebs they have and play better.
This one's for Brian. All the sodas that are behind.
Oh,
Brian. All the sodas that are behind me are the remnants of a 4th of July cookout that I had here, where we had 21 people at my house, and I spent almost 4 hours strapped behind a barbecue grill cooking hamburgers, hot dogs, chicken, sausage, corn, anything that can be put on a grill damn near got slapped on my grill that day.
Well, there you go, Brian. You just got your question answered. But what were your thoughts on? I wanted to get your thoughts on that with players and managers, because
I missed it.
Because you were focused on the question. So I was asking. No, so I was asking because a lot of their players in the past, right, especially on the Yankees, especially during the dynasty years that we all remember, they used to hold themselves. The players used to hold themselves accountable. So they if they had a bad game or a bad slump, they would come back. They would come back and improve. They feel so with this team right now. Folks are feeling like, well, this team is not doing the same, and that's due to bad management.
Well, honestly, the two teams are completely different.
Mm-hmm.
The team in the 90s dynasty years, you had very few power hitters, a lot of line drive hitters, contact guys. So contact hitters don't go into prolonged slumps. And hence, there wasn't really a need for a lot of clubhouse management. This team is start out the season as decent contact hitters, but now they're going into the home run swing zone. And to me, in my opinion, that's not how you win World Series and sustain championships. We've had the formula of home run hitting through the season where we're crushing it. But when we face that top tier pitching in the postseason, we get our asses handed to us. With regard to clubhouse affairs, I don't think we really know what's going on behind the closed doors of the clubhouse. The managers of today's era don't tend to air things out in public during press conferences or whatnot. That's why Boone's diatribes seem so ridiculous, because he's not really talking about anything. It's the old adage to baffle them with bullshit as opposed to giving them actual facts.
Right, and that's the thing, right? There's a lot of fans that like to give Aaron Boone a hard time about his post game interviews. And I get it. I understand. But he's not going to give you all the facts. Like he's going to tell you what he needs to tell you. He's going to be short with his answers because you don't want to give the media any ammunition, especially the New York media, because they will run with whatever information they can get out of you and make a spectacle out of it. So he's probably what he does behind, when the cameras are off and behind closed doors, we truly don't know what he's doing or saying. He could be talking to these guys for all, and yelling at these guys for all we know. We don't know, but he presents himself as like a, cool, calm, collected guy, which he is for the most part from what we're seeing on TV, right? But who knows what he's like when the cameras are off.
Honestly, Boone has not had a background as a manager or a coach. He went from the ESPN analyst slot into being a major league manager. So I think that he knows how to do FaceTime as opposed to the manager we had prior to him, Girardi. Girardi didn't like the press. He would tell them to go get packed. Anybody who pissed him off got flamethrowed on TV. And I think eventually the clubhouse didn't like him that much, and it cost him his job. And people are saying that we should bring him back. I don't think he'll ever come back as a manager anywhere.
No, I think he's going to continue being a broadcaster, and I think he's really enjoying that. So, and I don't blame him. I don't blame him whatsoever. And there's a few other people that showed up in the chat. I wanted to say what's up. I saw FJ. I see Anna Marie. Anna Marie, thank you for the kind words as always. And Uncle Tat's in the building. What's up, Uncle Tats from the Pinstripe Chronicles podcast? I didn't see you on the show yesterday, man. What happened? Did you go fishing? Were you on the boat? Shout out to Uncle Tats. Make sure you all subscribe to the Pinstripe Chronicles podcast. I would greatly appreciate it. They do good work over there. So, and CT Cards, what's up there, bud? I see you over there. So CT Cards, what's going on? Hopefully you're doing well, man. Make sure you're taking care of yourself. Oh, okay. Uncle Tats had a work meeting. Understood.
What is this thing you call work? We're working right now. Isn't Pinstripe Chronicles a work?
He had an actual work meeting. It was probably a pretty lame one.
Yeah, they sat around and talked. Why are the Yankees losing? They can't seem to hit, Jack, and their pitching is terrible. What trade should we make?
That's funny.
Nothing but love, Tats.
Yeah, Ken's got a lot of love for you there, Uncle Tats. And if you got a minute, Uncle Tats, you could you could come up and talk to us if you want. But unless you're busy, I understand. But look, with Aaron Boone, I did want to point this out. So he, as a manager, ever since he came in to the league, and I had the number up here, and I think I lost it. Oh, here we go. I got it. His managerial record, he's 561 wins and 388 losses with a winning percentage of .591. So for a guy who's never really had managing or coaching experience, I'd say he's done pretty well record-wise.
I compare Marty Schottenheimer, former NFL coach, to Aaron Boone. Schottenheimer has an incredible record of making the postseason. He also has a horrible record when he was an active coach of being eliminated in the first rounds. He had a team that was made for the long haul, sort of like the Dodgers, but can't seem to get it done in the postseason. I think that's where he gets hurt, is his lack of experience in understanding the change in dynamics of the game in the postseason.
I think that's where his failure is postseason. Although he gets the team into the postseason, does a good job of doing that. He's done a good job of doing that Obviously, last year was not the case because of the fact that the roster was just terrible. So, I mean, I couldn't really blame Boone on that. He worked with what he had, and it wasn't a great roster. But the previous years, I mean, he found a way to get him into the playoffs. But it was to no success because there was no World Series. That's what's missing on his resume right now, and I think that's people's biggest frustration with Boone. Yeah, Girardi won a World Series, but after that, nothing. Unfortunately. I mean, I hate to say it. I like Girardi as a manager, but I know some fans were upset about him being let go, but the thing is, he didn't win a World Series for the longest time, and there was opportunities, but it didn't happen. So, I think moving on from him personally was, in my opinion, the right move. Who the replacement was, I don't know. I was surprised when they hired Boone. I'll be honest with you, but I feel like Boone didn't always have the best roster under him either. Not really, So, but I wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Well, being Yankee fans, the only acceptable outcome is a World Series championship.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't done that in 15 years,
Right.
And Boone's postseason record doesn't seem to think or make it look that we're going to do it anytime soon, regardless of this great lineup or not. Fans team, I mean, if you look at the definition of a manager is the fall guy for everything that's screwed up on the team. And Boone is having to wear that jacket right now. Will the ship get righted? I tend to think it will. How we'll do in the postseason with Boone at the helm, I don't know. I sort of think that's why Brad Osmus is in there to be that voice of reason and giving him gentle shoves from behind because he is a postseason experienced manager.
Mm-hmm. Indeed, yeah. And some people are saying he could be Boone's replacement, which I'm not really all for. But get to a few more of the comments here. So Old Sarge is saying Boone's word salad aside, gents, there's no need for him to rip players publicly, but after 25 years in the military, you can tell when a group of men are not held to account behind closed doors or not.
Agreed.
Yeah, well, Ken probably agree with that since he was former military there, Old Sarge. And then Anthony was asking this to us. He says, NFE, and you could answer this too there, Ken. If hypothetically after the season, the Yankees relieve Boone of his duties, his contract is finishing with Miami after the season, and we're not going to send him about Skip Schumacher. I think he's asking if we would want Skip Schumacher as a manager. I know who I would want as a manager if it wasn't Boone, but I don't know if it'll ever happen. But personally, I'd love to see Alex Cora. I know he's a Red Sox guy, but I actually think he's a good manager.
Cora would be a good choice, but I don't think Boston's going to let him go.
Probably not.
With regard to Schumacher, working down there in Miami, he's had to deal with a lot of very young people coming up in their organization. How successful he's been, I don't know, but I know that he has the experience working those young folks. And with the amount of younger prospect type players that we're bringing up to supplement, hopefully, the signing of Juan Soto and the other veterans that we have, he probably wouldn't be a bad choice.
Yeah, absolutely. And I look at what Erica's saying here. She's saying ripping players publicly doesn't help anyone or help morale in a locker room. Holding players accountability is possible without ripping them. You're not wrong. Again, I don't know what Boone is saying or doing behind the scenes. I couldn't tell you. I don't think anybody really can, really.
I think part of Boone's accountability actions are subtle benchings, where like Glaber was down on the bench for 3-4 days. he came back and started actually playing ball again. DJ's been sat, couple of starts. Now all of a sudden DJ is hitting doubles and got a little bit of a swing back. Hell, it was 2 days ago that DJ hit a grounder that I just knew was going to be a freaking double play, and DJ actually legged it out and only ended up being a fielder's choice.
Yeah, absolutely. But I wanted to say real quick, just a quick pause. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Hopefully you're all enjoying the conversation. I'm seeing all the comments. It's really flying by, but I am reading them all. Trust me, as much as I can. You're all dropping some great comments. I love the takes. Greatly appreciate it. Again, make sure you all hit that like button, hit that subscribe, share this channel out with anybody you know. I would greatly appreciate it. I have Ken here as my co-host today, and I will be doing an open panel here in a little bit. So as always, just keep it respectful, keep it cool, and I'm going to invite you all up one at a time. So I'll put the link out here momentarily, but we'll continue the conversation.
I want to answer this question from Anthony Manzano about yes, sir.
Okay.
It is definitely a possibility. I mean, I was in the Navy for 31 years, and towards the latter part of my career, I was a master chief, so I was in charge of hundreds of sailors, and I didn't seem to be able to connect with the younger ones, and it presented me some interesting problems when working. And that's the military, when the senior guy tells you, hey, you're going to do this shit because I said you're going to, or else. And Boone is not in that situation, but I could definitely see where the age and player differential in time could have interferences and cause problems connecting. Good question.
Yeah, there you go. Here you go. And then I wanted to bring up this comment from Sunil. He says, speaking of holding any accountability, to me, the player's body language says it all with the frequent lackadaisical play we've been seeing. If you think fans aren't seeing this, then you're blind.
Well, my 10-year-old granddaughter has accountability, but she does body language and eye rolling all the time, regardless if she ends up being put in the corner or timeout or whatever. Young people just do shit.
Yeah. I mean, I think if players really weren't responding to Boone or supposedly they didn't respect Boone, I think this team would be in worse shape than that they're in right now, honestly. So, this team didn't get – I mean, yeah, they're in a slump right now, but it's not like this team got over 50 wins by accident. I mean, they got to 50 wins for a reason. It wasn't from lackadaisical playing the game lackadaisical. So, yeah, they're in a recent slump right now. They need some players to come back from the injured list because they got a lot of them so far right now, and they need to they need to make some acquisitions at the trade deadline. We'll see what happens there.
The problems that we have right now, as far as trade acquisitions, we don't know who the buyers and sellers are, so we cannot figure out what players are actually going to be available. I've seen a couple of articles from CBS Sports on who they think the top 30 are, and I think they're full of crap. But people are shooting wild guesses on who's going to come available. Down on the farm, the problem that we have is a lot of our primary guys that were going to be used to fill holes are all on the injured list, and the ones that are there that are on the 40-man roster don't have the skill sets that we actually need. The only place of strength that we actually have down there that we could pull ready talent from is the catching position.
Yeah, and the Yankees have a plethora of catchers. So, where they're weak right now. I mean, they have some. They're weak at first base. They only have T.J. Rumfield at the moment at the minors. I mean, we got Ben Rice, yes, right now playing first base. I think with the draft that's coming up, I think they really need to focus on getting some corner infielders.
I'm not sure that TJ's on the 40-man roster.
I don't think he is,
but you have from the catching position Narvaez and Ramirez that are both on the 40-man roster. So if there was a need, God's honest truth, come playoff time, we need a solid catching core behind us, because teams that we're going to face, like the possibly the Red Sox, the Orioles, are definitely speed component guys, and you can't have folks airmailing the ball into center field or bounce pass and 30 shot puts down the second base and giving up, ungodly amounts of steals. So there is definitely a need for a positional change, and I think that's why there's been a lot of talk about a trade that would involve Elias Diaz from the Rockies, because he is a top-tier defensive catcher with a solid stick that has major league experience.
Yeah, listen, I like Elias Diaz. He's like one of the few good pieces on the Rockies, but honestly, I don't think the Yankees are going to target a catcher. Just because they have. I mean, I'm just throwing that out there because I think they're going to continue sticking with Trevino and Austin Wells, and I could see a call up from Augustine Ramirez, and they have a lot of catchers right now. So they've been trying to find that catcher in their system, but it just never worked out. So I think that's why they have so many now.
Why I think they'll reach out for a catcher is Austin Wells. Fine minor league catcher. He's come up and he is learning the position of catcher in the major leagues. He's not a bad catcher. He just doesn't have the experience. And when you go into the postseason, that's what you're looking for, is people that, essentially, catcher is your captain on the infield.
Yeah. Wells, look, I know you got your opinions on him, but,
they're generic baseball opinions.
Sure.
If he's the starting catcher, fine, so be it. I'll support Wells from here to Kingdom Come. However, just like every other player that we've listed off, if they don't do crap right, we're gonna bring it up.
Always. Just my personal opinion. I think I wish he would get more consistent playing time. I know he's splitting time with Trevino, and at this point, he's still a rookie. I know he got brought up last year, but he didn't really play in a lot of games.
No, he is a straight rookie.
Yeah, he's a straight rookie. So, I just feel like, and I'm not. This isn't on you. I'm just saying there might be some fans out there that are probably criticizing him, kind of like they did Anthony Volpe last season. So, Volpe was getting a lot of heat from fans for not having a great year in his rookie season, where the guy didn't have a lot of obviously had zero major league experience.
Well, guess what, NFE?
Yeah.
When Dominguez comes up, he's going to have a slump, and fans are going to criticize him. You're going to hear the diatribe of, we should have moved him to get Corbin Burns or Garrett Crochet or one of the other players that are going to be available at the deadline.
Agreed. You're not wrong.
That's part of why I call the big gun prospects the flavor of the month.
I hear you, man. I hear you.
Until they're in the majors and they're producing like Volpe has, he's had an incredible second season based off of his initial start. His initial start, by the way, included a Gold Glove at shortstop in his rookie season.
Yeah, which nobody thought that was going to happen. not myself included. I'll be honest with you.
But the point is, you have to give – everybody wants these kids to get a chance to play. Well, the fans have to realize that these guys are on a learning curve when they come up.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to screw some stuff up, and they're going to do some stuff very well. Every one of them, including Dominguez, Rice, eventually Jones.
Yeah, no, I mean you got to give them time, because the Yankees over the years, right, from 2000, I think it was like 2009 to now, they've spent billions of dollars on contracts. It was like $4.2 billion, and obviously had nothing to show for it. I think they spent the money wrong. I mean, they spent it on the wrong players, which was unfortunate. And I think that's why some of these fans are saying, play the young guys, play the young guys. Okay, cool. Listen, sign me up. But like you said, you got to give them time to develop. Don't expect them to be, Superman or Batman right out the gate. It's not, it's not gonna happen. You got to let these guys play, let them develop, let them make their mistakes.
I mean, Dominguez last year when he came up in his 8 games, he had a 254 batting average. Had 8 extra base hits, mind you, but 254. At that time, that's just about where league average was for hitters. But pitchers hadn't figured him out. He's able to tee off on the guys. And if he started getting a steady diet of low outside sliders, breaking balls, is he going to still be pounding those extra base hits? Probably not. So then you have the fans with their pitchforks running, oh, he was overrated.
Yeah.
Gotta give him a chance.
You do have to give him a chance. And look, I want to bring up this comment from Razil, the great. He says, again, they bring up prospects and don't let them play. They bring them up, sit them, bring them back for a few days and send them back down. It's a joke. Listen, I don't agree with that approach. I mean, they've done that a lot with Peraza. I don't agree with that. They shouldn't be doing that with Peraza, or they shouldn't have done that with Peraza, because the time that he was up here, he's actually playing well. I mean, his bat, yeah, you needed to give him some more time. His defense was great. He still has a great glove, and but Razil, the thing is, it's like what I was saying about Anthony Volpe. He played a full season last year, and he got crapped on. Fans were calling for him to get sent back to the minors because they thought he was a bust, that he wasn't the answer. So, there's an exception with Volpe, right? But yeah, I do agree that some of these guys that they bring up, let them continue playing. But you're not going to be able to bring them all up at the same time. I mean, it's now some fans are calling for Spencer Jones to come up, but he's not going to be a call up till 2025. He's not ready, so give him some time. You got to let you got to let these guys develop. But I do agree that the Yankees do need to play some of their young guys. But the problem with the past is that they had a crappy farm system. They had nobody in the farm system. They had nothing. Like they were the scouts during that time have done a bad job. So they had to revamp the scouting system, and they've done a better job of drafting players. So now they have a plethora of players that have so much upside and so much potential that hopefully whoever they call up, whoever they decide to utilize, that these guys do in fact work out. Well, it's like the same thing with Jackson Holiday. They called him up. The Orioles did, right? I know who cares about the Orioles, right? But they called him up. He was a stud. Didn't work out for 2 weeks. They sent him back down.
He was the number 1 prospect in Major League Baseball. He plays for the Norfolk Tides. When he was down here for the month or so in the early part of the season, the kid was hitting 565. I mean, he was incredible. I went to a lot of Tides games and just watched the team beat the tar out of everybody. Holiday goes up to the major leagues, doesn't get a hit, and is hitting or he gets one hit after being up in the majors for a week. He's up there for a total of 3 weeks, and his batting average is, I think, less than 100, and they send him down. So that's what you don't want to do, is you don't want to soul crush a rookie like that or a prospect like that. Brazil, absolutely correct on mismanaging prospects. Peraza was a great example. Well, I'll tell you one that I've been screaming about and pissed off about was Ben Rice. We brought in J.D. Davis, and all of a sudden he's platooning with Davis, DJ, and himself playing the field. If you're going to give this guy a true, legitimate shot at being a major league first baseman for the New York Yankees, you actually have to let him play. I don't know. I don't understand where the adage is that a left-handed hitter cannot hit a left-handed pitcher. It's bullshit.
I agree. 100%. And I wanted to quickly say what's up to D-Rod. D-Rod broke the lock today, so he was able to escape the closet. My guy, D-Rod. I hope you're doing well, man. I know you and I talked recently, so hopefully things are well with you. Just let me know, man. And I see Eddie Snaps. What's up, Eddie Snaps? Good to see you. Shout out to you. What's going on? Folks, I will be putting the link out to the open panel. Like I said, I will invite you all up one at a time. You'll give your takes. So you'll give your takes on whatever we talked about. And I want to get your takes on the trade deadline. Who do you want the Yankees to target and why?
And for who?
And for who? Yeah, for who? Yeah, I want to know your trade proposals. And no, Giancarlo Stanton is not getting traded. He has a full no trade clause, folks. DJ's not going anywhere either. He's a 5'10" guy. Carlos Rodon is not going anywhere either. He's got a no trade clause. So I just wanted to just throw that out there for all of you. Sorry, I had to give everybody a hard time about that. So, but the other thing too, Anthony Manzano posted this. He said that according to Ken Rosenthal, the Yankees are targeting AJ Puck and Andrew Nardi. So there are two lefties in the Marlins bullpen. I haven't personally seen that, but I'd have to look it up as far as if that's what Ken Rosenthal reported. I want to read up on that. But
Puck and Nardi would be great acquisitions, and they have controllability on both of them, unlike Tanner Scott.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, and Tanner Scott is only going to be a rental. So that this is true. But you ready to do the open panel? All right, he gave me a thumbs up. So, folks, I will put the link out to the open panel, so anybody could come up. The only thing I ask is just be respectful. Just give your takes, and I'm going to bring you all up one at a time. So, yeah, we'll just talk and have a little fun. And anybody who's got any questions, you could ask away. So, but it'll be, it'll be an interesting deadline. So we don't know. And we got the first person up right now. I'll bring him up here. So Jonathan, you ready to go? Cool. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good. Just had a good, nice morning. Went out, worked out, came back and listened to you.
Appreciate it. Just me, right? You're not listening to Ken. You got to listen to Ken.
Well, your channel, whoever's talking.
I know. I had to put you on the spot there, Jonathan.
you and Ken, the co-host now.
Yeah. But I wanted to get your thoughts. I mean, last night's game, the bullpen got the job done, right? It was pretty much it was a pitcher's game, right? The bats are still not alive. They still need to improve, and I want to get your thoughts on the trade deadline.
I think last night's game is a reason why Clay Holmes got the name nicknamed Cardiac Clay. Every time he pitches, he's one pitch away of giving up the lead. But he did it. He pitched well. We have to remember he is also a free agent, Clay Holmes, after this year. I know a lot of people are thinking about Soto, but Clay Holmes is the free agent, and also Torres. But in regards to the trade deadline, you have to trade from know what is out there. And of course, you said the Marlins is probably the most likely trade scenario. So, what I would probably want a trade that involved multiple players and maybe a pitcher and an outfielder. Probably Nardi and is it Jad Chisholm who's the outfielder?
He's the outfielder, and he also plays second base, which there's a little bit of a debate. Some fans want him, some fans don't.
Well, look, I think either they probably will have to get two players. I don't know if they need necessarily an outfielder, but Nardi would definitely be the top of the list to get. And to give up Nardi, here, there's a couple of guys I was thinking about. I was hoping they could trade Pereira, but Pereira is injured.
Mm-hmm.
And look, I don't think they can get rid of Torres in that deal. So I would. It's any trade. Just remember, any trade they will make will probably hurt a bit.
Yep.
So if I'm making a trade, I might want to give up. If they can't give up Pereira because he might be hurt, I might give up a Francisco the 14th prospect. I might give up Brock Selvich if it's the right pitcher for that in that pitch. And do they? What's they might want 4 players, more. But those 2 guys I might add to that trade: Selvich and Valerio. I don't know how to pronounce his name.
I think I know who you're talking about, but yeah, I mean, if you're trying to get Andrew Nardi back, it's gonna be costly. And when it comes to the Yankees tax is real. So
I might even give up Clayton Beeter in that trade if he wasn't hurt.
Well, Clayton Beeter, apparently he could have been a potential trade piece.
Yeah.
At the deadline, but unfortunately, he is probably going to be out for the rest of the season because
I understand, but I thought if assuming that Clayton Beeter wasn't hurt, I would have given up those 3 players for Nardi.
So who are the 3 players again? One more time.
Beeter when he wasn't hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Its name is Valerio, Francisco Valerio.
Yep.
And what was the other guy's name? I think it was Selvich.
You said Brock Selvich, yeah. So Selvich, Valerio, and Beeter if he wasn't hurt. But now that Beeter's hurt, who do you trade?
I don't know. You have to. I mean, it all depends. How much do they trust? How much do they like Will Warren? Is Will Warren going to be called up this year? Because he should.
They might call him up. There's a possibility, but Ken, I wanted to get your thoughts.
The other player you can add to that is Nestor Cortez.
They're not going to trade away Nestor. Nestor has actually been, as of late, he's been one of the better starters as of late. He had a good outing.
Look at what D-Rod just said. No, I did not say that.
No, D-Rod didn't say that. Or Jonathan didn't say that. What? But I don't think Nestor's going anywhere. I don't think he's going anywhere. I mean, I could see him potentially being traded in the offseason, but even then, I don't think so. But Ken, I wanted to get your thoughts on that, on Jonathan's.
If you look at the Marlins' actual needs, outfield, second base, shortstop, catcher. They don't need starting pitching because their guys are injured, but they will be back next season at some point.
Well, if they need a second baseman, I think a guy like Rock Riccio, I don't know if that's how you pronounce his name.
Rock Riccio, yeah.
Yeah, he's currently in A+. He's 22 years old. He's a lefty second baseman. The other guy they could possibly trade is I know they like him, but it's Cerna.
You know what? I think listening to Dane and talking with Dane, he was saying that Cerna might be a keeper. They could potentially trade away Arias, although Arias has been playing well too. So
the question is,
but if you look at the Yankee farm system, shortstop is is very deep for the organization. So Vivas, he was the number one international signing a couple of years ago.
Vivas was not. Vivas was traded.
Yeah, I said Arias. I didn't say Vivas.
Either way, go for it.
So I mean, I could see Arias being moved. He's a shortstop now. Convert to second baseman. He doesn't have what they call the prototypical strong arm, so he's not a third base type. I don't think he translates to it well, at least.
Well, if I were to trade Arias, it probably would be part of a large package, such as a Nardi, multiple players, not just one player.
Yeah, I mean, and I'll drop you down here momentarily because I got somebody else waiting down there in backstage. But the Marlins are a good trading partner for the Yankees. It's just a matter of, if it's true what Ken Rosenthal is saying. Again, I got to look at that article that the Yankees are in on Puck and Nardi. I know the Yankees are gonna have to give up some pieces. Who those pieces are, I don't know.
And the only other team I can see them trading with is the Rockies.
But the Rockies are not. Yeah, the Rockies are not going to give up Ryan McMahon, unless if the Yankees made them a fat offer. But the Rockies love Ryan McMahon, and I think Ryan McMahon likes playing for the Rockies. So I think they're trying to build.
But the Rockies are also a last place team, and they need to rebuild. What assets do they have to help them rebuild? It's not McMahon.
But they're not a team that really trades at the deadline.
They don't historically trade players at the deadline.
Yeah.
Well,
and the
I
players
have to get out to Colorado one of these days and go to a game there.
It'll be an experience for you.
What was that?
It's a nice stadium. It'll definitely be an experience for you.
Yeah, I was gonna say the team sucks, but the stadium is nice. The view is nice. I'll say that. But other than that, I don't think the Rockies are gonna be trading anybody. And Raziel, Colorado is gorgeous. It is beautiful out there. So, or out here, should I say.
If they move anybody, it'll probably be a catcher like Diaz, who's on the last year of his deal. There are a couple of bullpen arms that are in a similar situation. They signed their shortstop to a long-term deal. There's a lot of controllability with McMahon right now, too. Outfield, they've got that kid Nolan Jones, who is an incredible outfielder. So they've got the essence of their core being formed now with controllability. What they don't have is starting pitching. And I don't know if you know this or not, the two highest elevated stadiums in the major leagues are Arizona and Coors Field. In both of those stadiums, breaking balls don't really break. So that's why pitchers are very reluctant to sign free agent at either place.
Yeah.
Raziel, it wouldn't be a bad choice, man. Colorado's a beautiful state, yeah. So if you and your girl were looking to move out here after college, not a bad place to move to.
One of my states left to visit is Colorado.
No doubt, no doubt. But I want to get your final thoughts, whether it's on the trade deadline, the season.
I don't think. Let me rephrase. I think the Yankees will make small moves, nothing big, and nobody that we're talking about will get traded to the Yankees. It will be someone that nobody is thinking about.
Maybe Messenger.
I don't expect any of the top 5 prospects to be moved. And I think it will be just small moves because, of course, Steinbrenner doesn't want to add a lot to the payroll. So you have to keep that in mind when thinking about the trade deadline. So I don't expect any big name to be traded. However, there could be some surprises, and they could possibly trade someone who has a contract off the Yankees. So it's a surprise, not to me, but they could possibly trade Gleyber Torres. It's a possibility, but it all depends on what they get back. If someone is ready to make a run for it and they think Gleyber Torres is a missing piece and they're willing to give up the farm more than you expect, then that's something you have to consider.
Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know that the Yankees are going to trade Gleyber. Even if they try to, I don't know what team is going to acquire him, and what is he going to get? What value are you going to get back for him?
Well, as I said, the value will have to be something they're blown away with. So is it possible? Yes. Is it likely? No.
Right. Like I'll just leave it with this as far as Gleyber goes. I think he's going to finish the season out as a New York Yankee. That's just what I think, and maybe I'm wrong. I don't know, but maybe I'm wrong.
If we finish it out, do you think he gets the QO?
I don't think they'll get the QO. No, absolutely not. But I'm gonna go ahead and drop you down, Jonathan. But thank you for coming on as always, and I'm gonna bring the next person up. All right, Sunil, you ready to go? All right, buddy. What's up, man?
It's all right here in front of us. That's what's up.
That
I know.
That's a thought.
Well, here's the point of me basically saying that. You've been in a job for 7 years. You've been given some periodically good rosters. Okay, you can't tell me the roster is bad for the last 6 years. 2023, barring the exception. 2023, I was even saying this is a 66-win team. They were lucky to get those extra 16 wins and finish above 500. Okay, but I'm not harping on that one further. This team, I categorize it as 2023 and a half from the latest quality of play. The roster doesn't have your 7 favorite players. Okay, I'm not even going to elaborate there. But the quality of play, regardless of what's on paper, is speaking pretty loudly to falling back to that regressional level. Hector's stream coming up has the caption on it that basically Hal has called the team meeting to basically asking the team to turn it around and whatever. We'll see when we get there. What do we do to turn it around? That basically, I mean, I know you don't like the joke, and it was very, I also agree with you. But then again, the team's play has also been.
Right. But
Well,
go ahead,
if
Ken.
you look at the metrics of any baseball team,
Hmm.
success rises and falls with pitching. Our
Sure,
starting
agree.
our starting pitching has been horrible for a month.
Facts.
They have put us out of games before we even get a chance to get into a rhythm. And I mean
Hmm.
Rodon's outings, he has fallen in love with his fastball once again, but he's
Hmm.
not elevating it. He's thrown the damn 95-mile-an-hour fastball right down the gut, and people are sitting dead red and teeing off on him. He refuses to
So
throw secondary pitches, and I don't understand why.
exactly, Ken, and here's what I will counter your point with, and in agreement, basically. I have basically said from the beginning of the season that last year's key acquisition in Carlos Rodon and this year's key acquisition in Marcus Stroman have to come up with performances that fall close to what CC and AJ did in 2009. Hasn't been close. In fact, it's gone from being CC like to be more like Kenny Rogers like, as much as I cringe at saying that. If you remember 1996 and 97 Kenny Rogers.
I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So real quick, because I got another person waiting, and I am gonna slowly wrap it up, like at the
sure,
top of the hour.
sure.
I wanted to get your thoughts on, the slump that they're in. Are they gonna bounce back? And I want your trade deadline ideas.
I'm treading carefully on this one
Yeah.
because, as I said at the onset, you've been in a job for, 7 years. It hasn't really gotten better. You see my tagline below, and you read my comment earlier. That should tell you where my sense of confidence is. It's pretty shaky. I'm going to say yes and no. Yes, from the point of view that, you know, they're going to want to basically salvage some respectability, but it's not going to fall to the means like it did last year. It's going to be a little bit better than that. And last year, you did see two wild card teams in the Rangers and Diamondbacks make the World Series, a 90 and an 85, or was it 84 win team that basically made it.
Mm-hmm.
So with the introduction of the wild cards, as many as there are now, parity is even broader in baseball. And
Bro, you are muted. I can't hear you.
hang on.
I think you're good
Yeah.
now.
You're
Yeah.
back.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe in my Bluetooth fell in and out. I kind of heard it on my side too.
You're good.
Yeah. So with the introduction of the additional wild cards, the parity is basically increased in baseball, and that's also had its impact on the trade deadline. Not as many sellers as there ordinarily would be.
Yeah. No, I got you. But what
Yeah.
are there any players that you're trying to target for the deadline, or that you would want the Yankees to go after?
I would implore Yankee fans to keep an open mind about their opinions on Vlad Guerrero Jr. In spite of all the drama and whatever that's happened in the background. The man has basically changed his stance on what he thinks about baseball and the Yankees, both simultaneously in the same context. He's now gone from antagonizing and trash talking the Yankees just because of what they did to his dad to basically saying, "Hey, baseball is a business now. I understand where the dynamics are. I've had a talk with my family. Everybody's at peace with the decision. Let's move forward." So I think Yankee fans need to keep a broader mind and be open to that because we do need a third baseman. Ben Rice, I would say keep him at first. He's more than proven his worth so far in the small sample set that we've seen since he's come up.
So are you trying to say that we should acquire Guerrero and make him a third baseman?
He basically came up with Toronto as a third baseman.
I would personally, I would pass on Vlad, but that's just me. But that's an argument
Hmm.
for a different day.
Yeah.
I think there's other third basemen that they can acquire personally, but that's just my take. But
Mhm.
let me get your
Interesting
final
take for sure.
Yeah, interesting take. Absolutely. I
Mhm.
don't agree with it, but hey, to each their own. But I wanted to get
Mhm.
your final thoughts, and I'm going to drop you down because I got somebody else waiting in the back.
So basically, if you want to see who the good trade pieces are, you got to look at the people who you're going to protect from the Rule 5 draft, and then the others. You got to basically make the best of that. That would be my approach, rather than isolating out single prospects to be included as part of a package.
No doubt. All right.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well,
Yeah.
Sunil, as always, appreciate you. Thank you for
Yep.
coming on.
Yeah.
We'll see you next time.
Yeah.
Yep. Have a good day, man.
Yeah.
All right.
Just remember, opinions are a good thing. That's what generates discussion,
Yeah.
causes people to think about things outside their normal box. So,
Yep. Absolutely. And I got another person waiting. Erica, you ready? Oh, I think she's adjusting her camera. You good to go? You good? Give me a thumbs up. Cool. She's good. Erica, always, what's up?
What's up, man? I just came by to say hi. I didn't realize that we were coming up on the end of the stream, so my bad.
You're good. You're good. It's all good. You know how much I appreciate your takes. You always drop in the comments, and I see you on Hector's live streams as well. But how
Yeah.
have you been? Everything good?
Everything's good, man. I mean, I'm a little down in the dumps with how the Yankees have been playing, but
Mhm.
the win yesterday it's a step in the right direction, I guess.
well, how
Yeah.
did the team do yesterday?
I'm sorry.
How did your team do yesterday?
Well, we lost. We looked worse than the Yankees of July and June, so. Uh, but hey, listen, I got my steps in, right? That's all that matters.
There you go. Workout is important. So
Yeah.
workout is important. But yeah, I wanted to get your thoughts on, last night's game overall, how, obviously we know the Yankees are in a slump. The bats need to improve, right? The offense has been still bad, right? And I just wanted to get your thoughts on the deadline.
Yeah, I mean, if there's one thing that we can be optimistic about, I mean, but carefully optimistic, is that that the pitching has looked slightly better in the last couple of games, holding the Rays to one, Luis Gil's start, Stroman, I mean, whatever, but like they've looked slightly better. My problem is the offense, and like to Sunil's point, man, this front office, I don't think they're going to make any of the moves that we're expecting, because they're going to look at it as this. I did enough. We've done enough to try to improve this team. We've made the signings that we were asked, like that fans were pleading for, and we've been hindered by injuries. We're only 2 games back from first. We're still have a comfortable lead in the wild card. We can still get back to that team that was the first 70 games of the season. Like, that's what's going to be the answers from Cashman, because it's technically what he gave us in 2023. After the 2023 season, is that he's made those moves. They just haven't performed, and like, to be honest, they aren't. But I think it's because it's just a poorly constructed team. Damian has mentioned it before. I'm not sure if he's in the chat today, but it is poorly constructed. It's been poorly constructed for a long time now, and we're starting to just see the consequences of it. So, as far as the deadline goes, old Yankees that don't care about the luxury tax, I'm sure we would be in on discussions with Luis Robert. I'm sure we'd be in discussions with maybe getting Matt Chapman at third base.
Right.
But that's just not what it's going to be. And hopefully the Yankees have enough to maybe get a Renji. I never know how to say his last name.
Renhefo?
Rengifo.
Yeah.
Hopefully they can outbid for Tanner Scott, because he would close up a lot of question marks in our bullpen. Maybe they go out and look at somebody on the A's, because the Yankees love to do that. I know their DH, Brent Rooker. He's been having a solid season, but again, that's in Oakland, right? Once you come to the
Right.
Yankees, there's so much pressure, and these guys don't perform. And look at us, we jump down their throats. But what they've been doing in the last 3 weeks is unacceptable. One bad week of baseball, that happens. 2 bad weeks, okay, but It's just the same. It's just the same issues over and over again. And if Judge and Soto are not performing, if Stanton's not in the lineup, it's just dead weight. It's a lot of dead weight. And how do we fill these many holes with this much dead weight? We have to package our young guys, and then at that point, are you willing to make that sacrifice and not win the World Series this year? So it's just we're in a really weird place. I just hope that the guys that come back from injury, Efros, Schmidt, Stanton, I don't think Dominguez comes back this year, but can somehow push the needle a little bit. We'll see what happens. It's tough.
No doubt. Yeah, there's a lot of question marks, no doubt, with this team. But Ken, what are your thoughts to what Erica was saying?
Well, one of the things that we need to consider is that Soto's here for this year, and the Yankees are auditioning for him. If the Yankees don't do shit at the trade deadline, Soto's probably going to walk. Then the Yankee fans will get their vaunted lineup of Jones and Dominguez in the outfield. How well that works out, I don't know. But if Soto doesn't think that we're making competitive effort to get into the series because that's where he wants to be, he's going to take the train and leave town. So we have to make moves. What we're willing to sacrifice, it's hard to say.
On paper, the Yankees on paper have done enough, I feel like, for Soto to be like, this is a place that I want to be. But these last 3 weeks have been so awful and show what the other side of the coin is. But yeah, if you make those moves too, you're going to sacrifice your future. And then what are you going to surround Soto with for 10 years? And then that's another issue because all the money's going to be clogged up in Judge, Soto, Cole, and Stanton. So it's like, I don't know. It's such a catch-22.
Yeah, no doubt. I know Brian Cashman, Hal Steinbrenner, they were recently in Florida, so I don't know. I know they're there for the draft. They're thinking about the draft. They're having discussions about the trade deadline. I'm sure they were at the game. I know they were at the game watching the games, but I wonder what their thoughts are. We don't know for sure. Brian Cashman recently interviewed and he came out and said that he acknowledged that the team is in a little bit of trouble right now, and he knows that some changes need to happen. And he said they're going to be open-minded about it, whatever that means. So I'm just, are there any targets that you think that they'll go after, or do you think they'll go after some names that we're not even thinking of? I wanted to get your thoughts on that real quick.
Like I said, I think they're going to go after names that we're not thinking of. If you look at the track record in the past couple of years, like it's just trying to find, I don't want to say bargain bin dumpster diving, right? Because sometimes they pan out, but I feel like Cashman just thinks that he's a little bit smarter than all of us. And I think that he's been waiting for a lot of these things to pan out and for him to be like, see, I told you so. Like, see, I could make a World Series team out of under a $300 million salary or whatever. Like, I just feel like he just wants to prove us wrong so bad, and his ego and his pride get in the way. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. You were saying that we're in on Puck and who else?
Apparently, one of the folks in the chat said that, according to Ken Rosenthal, I'd have to find the article. Apparently, according to Ken Rosenthal, the Yankees are targeting Nardi and Puck.
Yeah.
I think that was also on Foul Play yesterday.
Oh, Foul Territory?
Or Foul Territory, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll see what happens. Like I said, I mean, Yankees of old, we would be mentioning Robert and Chapman and guys like that. But nowadays, it's like looking for analytically who's going to be good against a lefty, who's going to be good against a righty in this situation. Like that's what they're looking at, they're yeah. So we'll see what happens. Again, I can't believe they're only 2 games back from the O's. It's kind of crazy.
Well, that's telling in itself that the O's have been slumping as much as we have, just not as bad.
Right.
They lost their second game in a row. They've been getting clocked in series, except against the Yankees, of course, where they kicked the crap out of us. But
the Yankees series is always a World Series for every other team. They come in and play so much harder every time.
Yeah, if this was like the 2023 Yankees and the way they've been playing, they probably would have been like 6 games back by now. Let's be honest. But
Yeah.
they built a pretty good cushion from April through May, and now they're on the slump. So they definitely need to turn it around. And
So, what do
hopefully,
you think about the catching situation, Erica?
I've always thought that Wells should be starting over Trevino. I hate the way that they navigate through platooning them just because there doesn't create any consistency. We saw what Wells could do and what his bat is capable of, and I think that I mean, nobody sold on him anymore because of just how poorly he's looked due to not having consistent at bats, in my opinion. I think he has the higher ceiling. I mean, Trevino, he was there for framing and for defense, and he can't even do that now. So, like, why are we starting him so often? But what do we want to see what Ben Rice can do back there? You know what I mean? I know he came in for like an inning this year, but at this point, why not? He's got the bat, and let's just see what he has behind the plate. But again, the Yankees just have so many holes that we didn't even think were needed at the beginning of the season. We were like, yeah, Wells and Trevino were good, and then they get exposed with their armed and defensively, and you're just like, all right. And then it's you got to be good at one or the other, and they're not doing well at either. So it's just like
yeah.
I don't really know what you do there. I know that that's Ben Rice's primary position, right?
Yeah, he's a catcher, but he's doing well at first base. So
I
I
like him at
mean,
first.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
I'm
do
not saying.
too.
I'm just saying like after this year, I don't know. We'll
Yeah.
see.
So I'm gonna close it out here here in the next minute, but I wanted to get your final thoughts, your final take, whatever it is. I mean,
Well, I said that they needed to win the game one because they haven't won a game one in forever. They needed to set the tone. I'm glad
yeah,
that they are able to steal game two. Thank you, Trent Grisham.
yeah, Mr. Fourth
um,
Outfielder.
yeah, but just win the series. Win the series, get back on track, get your mojo back. I think that's what it is, man. They just look like I said it before. It's like Space Jam when the Monstars took all the power from the player. Like that's what it looks like. It just feels like they've got no swagger. They
Yeah.
don't have that, that dog the dog in them anymore. Like they just look defeated. And you can't come in to New York with that kind of attitude, man. It's a gritty city, you know what I mean? And like just looking like that, it's tough, and that makes the fans feel defeated. That's why I'm so negative about it. You know what I mean? Like they
Hmm.
got their heads hung, and just I don't know, win the series, try to get back on track. I mean, it's not going to get easy until August, so strap up.
No doubt, no doubt. But Erica, as always, thank you for coming on. It's like the first time I've seen you on this open panel. I've seen you on the other
Yeah.
ones, but
I had some free time from work and I was like, oh, let me jump on. But I didn't realize that you were trying to close up by 11. I'm so
no, no,
sorry.
you're
So
good.
I just wanted to
I
say hi, really.
No, it's all good. Like I said, I appreciate it. I always see you in the chats, and whether it's on this or Hector's channel, you always give some solid takes. You know what you're talking about. So I always do appreciate seeing you. So just know that, and you're always welcome. Yeah, we went a little bit over, but all good. I
No,
wanted
it's
you
okay.
to get your shot there. So
No,
all
for sure. For sure.
right, Erica.
But yeah, I'll talk to you guys soon. Nice meeting you, Ken.
You too, Erica.
All
All
right.
righty,
Bye, guys.
Erica. Have a good day and go kick some ass in softball.
Thanks.
See you later. All righty, folks. That's gonna do it for us here. Ken, thanks for co-hosting with me. Thank you to everybody who came on the open panel. Thank you to everybody in the chat for all your thoughts, your opinions. The comments were on fire today, so thank you all for coming on. Join me for the pregame later. I'm going live for the pregame, so that's all set up. So make sure you all hit that notification bell. Make sure you all hit that subscribe button, hit that like, share this channel out with anybody you know. I do greatly appreciate everybody joining in. Any support you give to this channel is greatly appreciated, and I do thank you for it. And I'll see you all later this afternoon. Have a good one, folks.